reverse, yeah, the brakes will get you loaded up, put on more speed. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our lead, our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, sides, through the games after this win in. Press you again, here for the first minute. Carry a lot of people there for 6 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't sign any mustard bottles or golf balls. Maybe wish I had a golf ball that night, you know what I mean? But I'm only kidding. All right.
I mean, Peyton Manning said it best year one when we got here. He looked at Coach Heupel and he goes, man, you know, if the Colts lose, you know, I'm all right. If the Broncos lose, I'm good. He goes, but if the Vols lose on Saturday, it hurts my soul. And there's a lot of other people. There's 103,000 people every Saturday who will say the same thing, and there's probably 1 million more watching at home. So it's important here, and those guys feel that.
You know, I think a lot like this will really, you know, light a fire under anybody. I know me personally, like this feeling and the way this feels, like I'm not going to take this lightly. And I think everybody else on the offense will fall in line on that. So hopefully moving forward there won't be, you know, laboring days or nights. Not that we'll be perfect, but we're going to work for it.
We've got to raise the bar, and we've got to continue to raise the bar. I don't think any of those young men, when they signed to come to Tennessee, they signed to say they wanted to come and be a part of a 7-6 program. They said they wanted to come and compete for championships, SEC championships, national championships. I know that's what I want. I know that's what Tennessee wants. I know that's what the expectation is. So we've got to continue to reassess everything that we're doing and make sure that we're continuing to move the needle in the right direction.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley.
I'm Vols JP.
I'm Dauber.
It's X Factor here.
Man, I'm scrolling through the chat as we're coming in on the intro there. The longest intro in the history of YouTube. Thank you guys that point that out. I had no clue. No clue. I don't know what I'm doing on YouTube. I have no idea how we've had any success here because I get told on a daily basis how much of an idiot I am and I don't know what I'm doing. Man, it's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But look, reading through the comments and kind of getting a laugh because all we talked about this morning on the live stream, we were live just like 8 hours ago. All we talked about was Nico and Joe, and the chat is already starting. They want to continue to talk about Nico and Joe. But, hey, this is your show. We will take you guys wherever you want to go. We are still Goodness gracious. We're halfway through the week, and we are still in the midst of therapy, and that's fine. That's what we're here to do. But let's run down the chat. Let's see who's hanging out. Carson's in the house, dropping those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. Marcus is here. What's up, brother? Marcus is usually a morning show type of guy, but here he is on the evening stream. Says, can't wait. Missed the last few streams due to work. Matt's in the house. What's up, brother? Go Hawks is here. Who else we got? Justin Sanday in the house. Bobby Pilgrim. Gonna miss this one. Oh, and he's got the pissed off Nick Saban face. Well, I hate that you're going to miss it. James Lawson's in the house. What is up, James? Chase Tidwell is here. Isaac's in the house. What's up, brother? Angry Titan is here. Who else we got? Let's see. David Burgess is in the house. Aaron Duck. Guys, come on in. You know the deal by now. Smash the thumbs up. Hit that share button. Put it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, MySpace. Let somebody know we're live. Change your top 8 to something sad. Give me a sad song on your MySpace profile. I think that's what we all need right now. We got a super chat from Pit Boss dropping a $10 door fee. Says GBO. Appreciate that, Pit Boss. Thank you for the support. Jay Russell also becomes a member of the channel at Emoji Access. That's only $1. If you're sitting around thinking, man, I really enjoy when Boogie yells at the chat, when Boogie screams at people on Facebook. It's a lot of fun. I want to support the channel. You can hit the join button down below. It's just $1. We would greatly appreciate it. You get custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, fan call-ins, all kinds of fun perks and benefits. Guys, go ahead and show Jay what he's won. Put it in the comment section. Show off those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. Parker Townsend for $5 says door fee. What is up, Parker? Dude, I feel like I've been talking to Parker for about 17 hours straight. Last night, this morning, again this evening. But it's good to see you in the chat, my friend. Donovan is here. What's up, Donovan? $5 super chat. Can't wait till Cooper is back. I would bench Kamal Haddon. I think a lot of people would agree with you, Donovan. It is good to see you in the chat as well, my friend. Here's the deal, man. Dauber was out of town. Didn't get to come on for the post-game show. JP's not been able to make a Wednesday show all season since going back to the preseason. So we're going to kick this thing off. I told you guys this morning. JP's going to go on a rant. He's got a live microphone. He can say whatever he wants to say. What I want to know, I want to know what was going on in your head during the Austin Peay game when me and Dauber had to pull ourselves to the side and have a one-on-one conversation saying, oh, here he goes again. How are we going to respond? How do we handle JP with sensitive gloves? But no, seriously, what was going through your mind in that Austin Peay game? You said, boys, there's no way Tennessee's going to go beat Florida. And then you see what happens in the swamp. Just what are your thoughts on this team? Just a summary of what you've seen through 3 weeks of football.
A lot of inconsistencies and a lot of things to be worried about for sure, Boogie. I mean, it really started, the first game of the season, but, against Virginia. But, the first game of the season, you're kind of like, they kind of got in gear there in second half. And you're like, okay, they're starting to find their rhythm and so forth like that. But then we show up 2 weeks ago against P, and we don't look good at all. Struggle mightily. Offense can just not get in rhythm, and Milton struggled. Obviously, the wide receiver struggled. So with that, I was like, there's no way this football team goes down to the swamp and they win. And sure enough, we saw what happened Saturday night. A lot of those things that was going on in Austin Peay game, they reared their ugly head again. This team continues to struggle with crowd noise on offense. Don't even get me started on the defense. I mean, just an absolute horrible game plan. The most disappointing thing Saturday night is the fact that we got outcoached, fellas. I mean, we let Billy Napier and a first-year DC outcoach us, and that's on Heupel. I mean, that's on Heupel. That's on this coaching staff. The offensive line, pathetic. I mean, before we went live, we were talking about it. Tennessee was faced with several light boxes Saturday. Multiple times that they had more guys in the block than what Florida was bringing, and we couldn't run, we couldn't pass block, we couldn't do anything. So there's tons, as far as I'm concerned, tons of concerns with this football team. But we're 3 games in, and the SEC is down. There's an opportunity for this football team to get better. So the sky's not falling, but part of the problem, Boogie, Dauber, X Factor, I feel like obviously is this fan base got so excited after last year, and rightfully so. But this is a brand new football team. This this is a team that's different. Obviously, quarterback play last year was absolutely phenomenal. All of that stuff. So, this team's going to have to grow. I'm not for sure that there is I guess the leadership there. That's another big concern. Is there a true alpha dog leader that's going to step up and hold these guys accountable?
Particularly for me on the defensive side of the ball.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah, for sure, Dauber. But just thinking about it. Look what happened to Mincy. Thursday night, 48 hours before they, or less than 48 hours before they travel to the swamp, probably 12, 16 hours before that they leave, and he's breaking curfew. And gets cited for possession, whatever with that. But still, the fact of the matter, the guy was not locked in. He wasn't locked in. And I've heard all week now that people saying, oh, we got to get Cooper and Mincy back. I can't trust Gerald Mincy. So I don't know why anybody is even trying to count on that guy, because he's been sporadic. So who knows? Who knows where that his head's at? And they don't have anybody viable to step in. Crawford's trying, but obviously, he's struggling mightily. And then the fact that we haven't been able to recruit worth a darn on the offensive line, that's killing us, fellas. It's killing us.
I want to call an audible. I wanted to get Dauber's thoughts on Florida, and we're going to do that. We're going to circle back around to that. But JP brought up a good point about Mincy not being dialed in, not being locked in, right? You can, and I've said this multiple times when I've talked about this situation. You can say whatever you want about weed. I could not care less.
Yeah,
the bottom line is it's illegal in the state of Tennessee, and you're out past curfew, and you get busted with it. So you're not following the rules. You got to pay the piper. That's not the debate. The debate is he's not locked in. That's the perfect statement, JP, is right before you get ready to go on the road for a huge game. And that's why when you talked about the Austin Peay game, and when I came on here the week after the Austin Peay game talking about it, it's like, oh, it's just Austin Peay. They overlooked him. No, I'm seeing a reoccurring theme here with this football team in 2023. Look, just hold that thought. Knoxville Predator catcher for 5. Really think we should put D at wide receiver. He could be the next Hyatt. Man, I'm not ready to start moving D. Williams. I'm not. I think you may have said that before. I know he's electric with the ball in his hands. I'm just not sure that's the answer. Timothy McGee for $20. That is not cheap. We appreciate that, brother. With the NIL, I put more blame on the players than the coach, because once you start getting paid, you are now semi-pro to pro. If you don't know basic football, blocking, tackling, etc., it is now the player's fault. Okay. But let's kind of bleed this into what JP just said about Gerald Mincy. And I'm not going to rattle off the list. I went into detail on that this morning with Sports Talk J and BBD. But I do want to ask you guys, Dauber, I want to ask your thoughts on the culture of this football team. It's something that we preached when Heupel came in. Culture. He's changing the culture, positive energy, blah, 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 blah. And then it got to the point where we said, hey, we don't have to talk about it anymore. We know the type of culture that Josh Heupel is going to bring. Now, Aaron Beasley, post-game press conference, talking about not being surprised at a lack of discipline. The Gerald Mincy situation, and not just the fact that he's not dialed in. And we can even go back a couple of weeks ago. A listener sent me something from the Swain event, and it was talking about Gerald Mincy and why he was behind J.J. Crawford. And it's because he didn't buy in. He was pissed because he wasn't at left tackle, and he wasn't buying in. So now he goes out. He's out past curfew. JP hit the nail on the head. He's not dialed in. Can you trust him? Dylan Sampson, immediately after the game, goes to Instagram and complaining about not getting carries. Caged cheetah. How does that do anybody any good? There's a lot of noise around this football program right now, Dauber, and I know it gets exposed when you start losing. But do you think we could be on the verge of seeing some type of locker room culture issue in 2023?
Man, that's a tough question. Because last year, I know that was one of the big things we talked about was, Heupel and how he was dealing with the NIL stuff and how he was dealing with transfer portal. And you look at Mincy. Mincy's a transfer portal product. Came from Florida. Had some issues there. I think that was part of what got him in the portal and all of that to begin with. But, it's one of those things. Is it a select few or is it actually the entire locker room? We saw what and I'll say one person threw off the season last year when we headed to Columbia, South Carolina. And all the turmoil and all of that caused and came from that situation. I mean, there are a lot of concerning things. You know, we came out of week 1 feeling pretty good. Week 2, we were kind of like, oh, hey, you know, there are some definite things to work on, things to clean up. And I tell you, after week 3 and seeing what they did on the road, you know, opening up conference play, that's a huge thing right there. And JP, you know, he nailed it. Not locked in to go on the road in conference play, to start the year out in conference play. We said week 3, that's when the season starts. And they weren't locked in. Going on the road, hostile environment. We said it Wednesday in the show last week. Don't give that crowd anything to get behind. You know, Tennessee started hot. You know, went right down the field, scored, went up, and then it was like, you know, the wheels fell off. And I tell you what, the second quarter defensively, that I think that's what surprised me most about this game, because I thought the defense had looked pretty good up to this point. We couldn't tackle anybody. I mean,
pathetic.
Piss poor tackling.
I don't even, yeah, you know, JP said I don't even want to talk about defense, and I don't even know that I want to talk about defense.
Guess what we're going to talk about tonight? We're going to talk about defense, because this morning's stream was so offensive heavy. I'm like, I've even got Tim Banks' press conference pulled up just in case we need to go through it. We'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about.
It just didn't make any sense. I mean, it was very, very laid back approach, and that's not the way that Tennessee defense plays their best, I don't think. I mean, it was almost like that we were trying to play against an offense that we felt like that was going to throw it all over the field, and that's not Florida's strength. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was mind blowing to see how safe, I guess, that we were playing Saturday.
Well, and the thing of it was that Florida just ran the ball. Like, honestly, that they kind of copied our game plan. Like, because we talked about we were trying to run the ball down their throats. That's all Florida did. I mean, yeah, you know what I'm saying, they made a couple of throws, you know, here and there, but that was just their game plan all this time. And
we couldn't run the ball.
Yep.
We couldn't run the ball.
And then we couldn't get off the field on third down. I mean, third down absolutely killed us. And you know, we've had that problem ever since Heupel's been there and Banks has been there. I mean, it's been a constant problem. And you know, Haddon, I have no idea. I mean, we have to be the worst zone coverage defense that there is. I mean, they have no clue. I mean, I don't know what the problem is, but it's concerning that it continues to be a problem over and over and over. It's obvious that Banks didn't learn a darn thing from that South Carolina game. I mean, it's obvious. So, you know, they're going to have to make some changes for sure.
The zone is what was driving me nuts Saturday night, because you made Mertz looked like he was making some type of big plays, and like it felt to me like all he was doing was getting outside the pocket, right? And then the zone would break down, and then he would just find a hole and he would throw it out there. It's not like he had electric numbers, 19 to 24, 166 yards and a touchdown, but it was just enough, right? But the whole game was so awkward the way it started, man. The way the game started, and like Dauber said earlier, it started perfect for Tennessee. You block the field goal, and then you go right down the field and score. But then those next 3 drives, you're starting with 1st and 15 because your offensive line, Tennessee can't play on the road, man. They cannot play on the road right now. I don't know what it is. They struggled last year. They're struggling this year. They can't play on the road. They just can't get it done. Let me hit a couple of super chats real quick. Angry Titan for 5. Appreciate that, brother. Pro Football Focus had every one of our offensive linemen ranked in the 50s. That's depth player rankings atrocious. Wait, depth player? What's he trying to say? Yeah, I noticed that, man. I pulled it up, and again, you talk about Gerald Mincey. Jeremiah Crawford was the lowest graded player at a 43. A 43, and I get it. You know, PFF, Pro Football Focus, is not everything. But 43 for J.J. Crawford, Andrej Karic, 51.7. Ollie Lane was terrible, 54.7. John Campbell, I thought he's played good football. He struggled in the swamp. Javonte Spraggins was the best offensive lineman at 65.6. they're terrible. They are not playing good football right now. And, can they get better? Can the offensive line get better? To go back to kind of what was coming up earlier, if Cooper Mays gets healthy, man, what a weird thing that is, right? He's every week, he's back. No, he's not. I'm starting to think Tony Basilio's right. It's going to be like mid-October before Cooper Mays ever comes back. But if you get Cooper back and you get Mincy back, can this offensive line kind of improve a little bit? But we said all offseason, depth on the offensive line was a problem. Now we're seeing it.
Yeah, well, and I mean, you would hope so, right? Because like I said, it's like what we were talking about earlier. You know, Cooper Mays, he is your big major key in this offense. And like I said, as far as Mincy goes, I mean, yeah, man, I just want Mincy just to lock in. Like, that's just all you have to do. I mean, I believe that they can get better, but look, Saturday is going to be the true test. I mean, because right now, it's just like my T-shirt. I feel like we're all, even the teams in this gray area right now, it's like the team is trying to figure out their identity. And it shouldn't even come to that, because from what they did last season, that should carry over. You would think the momentum would carry over into this season, and I get it. You know, we're missing Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt and all that, but it still shouldn't even matter, though, because like I said, Joe's been in this system for 3 years now, so you would think that he would take leadership in this team and lead them marching down the field, but that's just yet to be seen.
I got to hit this comment because this dude's disagreed with everything I've said. I don't know what his problem is with me, but it's fine. We didn't struggle on the road last year? Dauber, can you tell me what our record was last year?
11-2.
Can you tell me where our 2 losses took place?
I believe they were on the road.
Oh.
No.
Damn,
South
that's
Carolina,
weird.
South Carolina.
It's really bad when it's a loud atmosphere.
Georgia,
you know, obviously Georgia, which I mean,
Georgia's Georgia. That's talent.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
but
Is that your
it was
burner
loud.
account, JP? You defending
and,
yourself,
yeah,
JP?
That's what it is. Yeah, yeah. I mean, but it was loud, and we had a bunch of procedure penalties, and we just never could get in rhythm. Of course, obviously Georgia's athleticism and their defense had stuff to do with that. But then, we go and we, whatever there at South Carolina, certainly struggled there. And I know that we scored points. Somebody said, Pitt last year on the road, with all that. But yes, I mean, this offense has a tendency to struggle in those type of environments, and it doesn't help X factor that Cooper's not in there. I mean, it does not help that we're missing the at the beginning of the season. All these experts were saying the one player on offense that Tennessee needs is Cooper Mays, because he's so important to how fast that they run this offense and all of that stuff. And then, obviously he gets hurt in preseason, and, it's been a struggle. So we'll see what happens when and if Mays comes back. But, he's not going to make Mincy block better if Mincy can get his head on straight. He's not going to make Crawford block better, or Carrick, or Spraggins. So I mean, it's a total team effort here, and I think that the offensive line is going to have its struggles all year long. I don't think that they're just all of a sudden, if we get Mays back, that they're going to be just this great offensive line.
Hold on, Barbara. Let me hit these super chats. Wayne Starnes kind of following up with what JP just said, so I want to hit that one for 5. Thank you, Wayne. Depth right now, we don't even have 5 quality starters on the offensive line, in my opinion. Go Vols. Like I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. Backwoods has been a member for almost 2 years, my man. Guys, the sad truth is that Milton doesn't have the leadership personality that it requires to run this offense. Looks as if the coaches and team don't trust him enough to open up our offense. I agree with that. That was a huge talking point this morning in the Nico versus Joe debate. Red win for 5 from this morning. If you're a defensive back, Milton may not be able to burn you for 20, 30 yards, but he certainly can truck you into the ground. I don't understand what that's in reference to. Who said that? Did somebody? I didn't say that, so I don't know if that's directed at me or Sports Talk Jay or BVD was talking and I wasn't listening. That's very much a possibility this morning. I don't know what that's in regards to. If you're a defensive back, Milton may not be able to burn you for 20 or 30 yards, but he certainly can truck you into the ground. I appreciate the super chat, Redwind. I'm sorry that I'm not sure what you're talking about. We got a big super chat here. I kind of want to sit on your comment there, Dauber. Stay on your train of thought. Jenny for 5. Dorothy, I'm sorry, it's my fault. I didn't wear my lucky shirt. I tried to find it at halftime, and I couldn't. We got this. GBO. All right.
Thanks, Jenny. Golly.
Y'all stop DMing me with inappropriate comments and start DMing Jenny and tell her it's her fault. It's not Boogie's fault. It's not my fault. It's Jenny's fault. Thank you for the super chat.
Considering that we haven't won down there in 20 years, I don't think it's Jenny's fault.
She lost it every week that Tennessee was on the road in Florida. She lost that shirt. She magically finds it the next week for the UTSA game. Orange Sea Line's been patiently waiting. He dropped a 50 spot. We got to play the clip. If I can find it, I found it. There's the clip.
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 Million Man.
Orange Sea Line for $50. That is not cheap. I know it felt like UT versus Florida, the refs in the crowd, but at the end of the day, Halsley can say Milton is playing on a high level, but high level doesn't throw errant picks and waste 2 timeouts in 1 drive. I was a Milton man. Now it's Nico time.
Well,
do you guys want to come back to this, Dauber?
Yeah.
Is your point worth cutting off this super chat, or do you want to go down this road?
No, I actually just had a question. Mincy traveled with the team, right? And he played
special teams.
Played special teams.
Special teams.
Okay.
That's my whole problem, because here's the deal. Like, what happened was Heupel said it was a coach's decision. Right? We're just going with Crawford. We're just going with Crawford. He gets asked in the postgame, why did you not play Gerald Mincy? Oh, we just coach's decision. Well, guess what Ron Shumpert did the second they got out of that press conference? He went straight to Google and starts typing it up, and he figures out what actually happened. So then the real story breaks. Now you really look bad, because why'd you play him on special teams? Like, what is the point of even playing him on special teams? You can trot JP out there and say, hey, you got some eligibility left. Go block the end on this special teams, and you're going to be fine. That's why it's such a weird thing that you would play knowing, man, I get it. And I said that this morning. Every coach across the country is lying to the media on a daily basis, right? They're trying to protect their players. What's going on? Why didn't Joshua Josephs play? Did he get in a barroom brawl somewhere so they punished him? I asked somebody this morning said, or maybe I think it was Kaner. Kaner was like, dude, who knows? Maybe he did one little thing on a Tuesday at practice and it pissed Rodney off so much that he's like, oh, really? Guess what? You're not playing on Saturday. Who knows, right? Who knows why he made the decision he made? But let's talk about Nico and Joe. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I feel like I've talked it to death this week. Dauber, where you at? Nico, Joe, and why?
I think that Joe's got 1 to 2 more, subpar performances. I think maybe 1 more loss is all he can handle before, you're gonna kill any momentum that you had coming from last year's 11-2 season. You talked about recruiting earlier. You threw that in there. Yeah, that's something that, I think, depending on how this year plays out, that's going to, dictate big time. Some of these guys that have committed and are still possibly going to take some other visits, or guys that we're still waiting on, or your transfer portal guys. It's one of those things. We've just got to be more consistent. I think that's the thing. I'm not in the whole sky is falling. Joe is not the guy. Listen, Josh Heupel is a coach that knows quarterbacks, a coach that gets success out of the quarterbacks in his system. I don't think you can put every bit of this loss in Gainesville on Joe Milton. I don't care if Nico was out there, if Joe was throwing to Randy Moss and Jerry Rice, it wouldn't have mattered because he didn't have time to throw. The line was not blocking. They were behind the chains all night because of penalties. It was more than quarterback play that brought this L Saturday. I think moving forward, Joe's got. I think the leash is very much shortened, and he's got to prove it. He's got to go out and play exceptional this Saturday. It's a bounce back game. Listen, the whole team needs to come back and they need to clean it up because you go back in conference in 2 weeks against South Carolina, and then hell, it's tough sledding from then on. A&M, Bama, Kentucky. If we don't have things figured out pretty quick, then it could be pretty brutal.
This comment makes me laugh. Logan says, I think Dauber's regretting his point as he speaks it. You know why, though? Because Joe's not really played bad enough to get benched. He really hasn't. Like, I know JP was ready to burn it to the ground during that Austin Peay game, and that was Joe's worst game of the year. Virginia, he was pretty good. Florida, like, Joe played pretty good against Florida.
He managed the game. And listen, that's what
I don't know about managing it now.
Whoa.
Listen,
wait. Why didn't he manage it? I'm with Dauber on this. How did he not manage the game?
Well, we had
Like
to call six
I agree with that.
timeouts.
Situational awareness is a huge problem. So you
Yeah,
got me there.
that's
Now I'm
part
in the
of
middle.
managing
Let
the
you
game,
two
fellas.
fight. You
That's
two
part-
fight, and I'll be in the middle and go back and forth.
Honestly, in my opinion, that's his biggest problem right now.
Game
is-
management.
is game management. It's not. I mean, he dropped some dimes Saturday when he
Maybe
had
we
time.
used that word wrong. When Dauber said manage the game, he didn't go like yes, the interception and everybody's going nuts in the chat. He had a
was a
receiver
bad-
wide open.
yeah.
No, wide open. He's trying to make a play and he gets hit by a 400-pound dude right in the face, but he's trying to make a play. Guess what? You give him 1 second. You give him half a second, and he gets that ball off. It's a touchdown. The dude is wide open, and nobody's near him in the middle of the field. Just get the ball off.
Well,
and he's
it-
trying to make a play.
Well, and boys too,
I
it
definitely
doesn't.
don't think he's managing the.
That
game
was
well.
poor use of words, and Dauber sucked me in. I don't like that. I
Well,
don't like
and
that.
statistically, his
That's a
numbers
different
are-
word. That's a better
are
word.
decent. You look at Hooker didn't set the world on fire last year. He wasn't going out. He wasn't winning a game for you by just taking over and going, 32 of 37. He wasn't throwing for 600 yards. He played well and found success with what the defense gave him and managed the game. And I think if Milton can do that, if Milton can manage the game, although now after week 3, we see that there's a whole lot more problems than Milton. The defense is a big problem. And I think moving forward, the defense is going to be a bigger problem than the offense.
But
The
that's
biggest
my thing. Hold on, X. I'm throwing this to you. The thing is, yes, we get it, and I see everybody in the chat saying stop making excuses for him. I'm not making excuses for him. I'm telling you right now, Joe Milton's starting on Saturday, no matter what. He's starting.
yeah.
Nico ain't
he's
coming in unless it's a blowout. But like Dauber just said, there are so many more problems. The offensive line, the defense. I get it. I understand. I'm ready for Nico too. If they said they were starting Nico on Saturday, nobody would be happier than me. I don't think Joe has played bad enough to get benched. X, please. They're telling you in the chat. X, run over these guys and tell them to shut up. so we
No,
can talk.
like I said, no. Listen, it's okay. I'm gonna look at it both ways. Like I said, look, two pathways. Yes, just statistically, yes, his numbers did not look bad at all. So we can give him a C. If you want to grade him, it's about a C minus. I'll give him about a C plus, C minus, whatever you want to give him. But now, like I said, management of the game. Listen, the biggest red flag for me is that this man, Joe Milton, and I love you, Joe, but brother, you
He
cannot
ain't
go
listening,
into
I promise.
you can't go into a post interview, press conference game saying, "Oh, I didn't know what was going on out there." You're a 6-year senior. Remind you, 6-year senior. You've been in this Josh Heupel system for 3 years. It should be second nature to you, brother. I mean, it really.
Speak it, X.
should.
Speak it, X.
I mean, and I'm just
God,
saying.
it's
I'm right there with you, brother.
I started to say it's the left versus the right, but I refuse to put myself in that bubble. So it's this side of the screen versus that side of the screen.
The dude has been around for 6 years.
I knew we couldn't
in
skip
two
this.
different programs. He's been named the starter twice. He's lost his job twice. He's got it back now, and he's about ready to lose it again if he doesn't get his act together. I mean, I'm sorry, and I don't have any confidence because he can't manage the game. He can't manage it. I mean, I like the guy.
You screwed us because
I
you misspoke
I like
once.
the guy. I think he's probably a great teammate. He's got an arm like nobody else. But at the end of the day, that's not going to win you football games when you don't know how to read a defense, when you don't know when to change out of a play, and you end up having to call timeouts after timeouts after timeouts after timeouts. It's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. And yes, there is tons of other problems. The offensive line is playing horrible. The tight ends can't block. I don't think that the wide receivers are blocking anywhere near that they've done the last couple of years. I think that's got problems with it. It's Joe's not fault. Just Joe. Yeah, it's just not Milton. But I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter. He can't manage a football game, fellas. He can't do it.
So, let me hit some super chats. God, we're going to talk about Nico and Joe all night long. That's what we're going to do. That's what this show is going to be. Donovan for 5, thank you for the super chat. I agree with Hub saying the Vols have to get back to tempo, which makes this offense go. Getting in a huddle is not this offense. How much of that is Joe? Like, game management, right? And that's something that we talked about this morning is it seems like this coaching staff doesn't trust Joe. It's like he has to go to the line, and then he's got to go, what's the play? Which are we going to run? Or are we going to pass? Let me know. By that time, it's too late because Florida's changing what they're doing. Whereas Hendon was go, 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 foot on the gas. I have the confidence to call this play, and we're running with it. I swear I think there is a lack of trust in Joe from this coaching staff. Oh, yeah. And if there's a lack of trust, then why is he the starter? I 100% agree. I'm playing a little devil's advocate here to have some fun because that's the beauty of YouTube. Timothy McGee for 5. Appreciate that super chat. I think our coach needs to bring in the tight end, even an H-back. When we have them, why doesn't the coach help the O-line out with that? Sometimes they do. I would like to see them utilize the tight ends more as a whole, but thank you for the super chat. C. Johns for 5. Crawford had a 26 PFF pass blocking grade. 40 to 49 is considered not good enough for a starter or technically a backup rating. Mincy should have played. Would you guys have played him? Cited for simple possession. What happens if Heupel plays him? Right, that's exact. That almost makes it worse, right, Dobber? That you played him on special teams.
I wanted to confirm because I was at a music festival this weekend watching the game on my phone, but I read afterwards that he played on special teams, and I didn't notice him on special teams, but man, why play him on special teams when he's needed on the offensive line when the offensive line's getting worked?
If he didn't travel and you suspended him for the whole game, and then people ask why, and you say, "Oh, it was the coach's decision," and then
I get that.
All that comes out. It's kind of like, okay, well, it makes sense, but it's almost like we tried to give him a little slap on the wrist, and then we got caught, right, because we let him play special teams.
Didn't Mincy grade out as like the best pass blocker first 2 weeks when he played? I know that he's been pretty high.
He's been pretty high. I mean, if we want to talk about grades, you know who graded out the highest on offense for Tennessee this week? Oh, that'd be Joe Milton, 80.3.
Really?
I'm just saying. Yeah. I've got the PFF grades. And again,
they must don't take into consideration game
management.
Game management.
Situational awareness. That's what I've been saying for 2 weeks.
Amen to that.
But it goes back to when Heupel said it in fall camp, dang it. When Heupel comes out there and says, we had a good scrimmage number 2, but we're struggling with situational awareness, nobody bats an eye, and I'm coming on here every day freaking out saying, we have a 6-year senior running this offense, situational awareness. And then I told Kaner on Locked On Vols, I'm like, I had flashbacks to Ole Miss, and he's like, you're coming on my channel for the first time in 2023, and you're bringing up Ole Miss from 2021? Yes, I am.
Look what happened Saturday night on that two-point play. He runs out of bounds.
Same thing.
Throw it up, man. Throw it up. I mean, just don't run out of bounds.
You got to give yourself – that's like standing with 2 strikes with the bat on your shoulder watching it. You got to give yourself a chance.
Yeah.
Hey, if it's close, swing, right? Good Lord. Y'all making my blood pressure go up.
Well, and the question is like, does Joe have confidence in himself? I mean,
that's part of it. I think that's part of it, X. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, bro, like just go out there and play football, man. Go compete. Like that's all we ask. Just go compete. Like,
That's why he laughs and shakes things off, because I think there is truly a lack of self-confidence there.
Yeah.
I really do.
But guys,
let me catch up.
think
Let me catch
about
up
it,
on
though.
Super Chats.
I mean,
we got a bunch.
it's probably the hardest position to play. That's why
is.
that these NFL teams search every single year for their man, for their quarterback, and that's why they pay the ones that are good all this money, and they overpay for the ones that are semi-good, because it's such a tough position to play.
Dude, I was listening to Pancakes and Bacon, Reed Bacon and Kyler Kerbyson. I was listening to them while I was getting everything set up, and Kyler Kerbyson made the comparison to drafting that hot rookie, right? You go get that quarterback in the first round, and then you've got this veteran guy that's not really the guy, but because he's been in the NFL for 10 years, you're continuing to roll him out there. Meanwhile, you've got the young gun hot shot on the bench, and everybody's calling for him, and that's exactly what we are dealing with Nico. We all want him because he's the number one player in the country. This is Harrison Bailey nonsense elevated to 1,000, right? Because people call Nico a generational talent. We're going to continue the conversation. Don't worry, you freaking psychopaths. Y'all making my blood pressure go
what's
up.
Gonna happen?
JP comes back, and I can't freaking focus. We're 40 minutes into the show.
What's going to happen when they roll Nico out there and he struggles and this fan base is going to implode? This fan base is going to implode.
Put in Gaston Moore.
Yeah.
And then when he struggles, put in Navy Schuler. And if he struggles, put in the X Factor. I don't care. Whoever's on the bench, put him in. Let me catch. We got so many super chats. Man, this is why I didn't make any bullet points. I still haven't asked Dauber his thoughts on the Florida game. We're 41 minutes in. That was the second thing I was going to ask on the show. This is what happens. This is why the band needs to be together every Wednesday. JP, stop working and worrying about your family and worry about the cult. We are a cult here. Please raise your right hand and put it up to the screen and pour a glass of Kool-Aid. Orange Sea Lion, been a member for 9 months. He's about to give birth. Appreciate that. Joe isn't the guy. Dauber, Joe isn't getting success out of Milton. Wait, Josh isn't getting success out of Milton. You can't blame the loss, but he certainly didn't help us win. That's where I'm at. You can't blame Joe Milton for the loss, but would Nico have gone out there and done something different? I'm hitting super chats. I'm not even letting you respond, Dauber. I'm hitting super chats. Adam Cook for 10. I watched an awful lot of Willie Martinez football, and I'm still not in his camp. We need another guy. I think Martinez is out the door.
That's a huge point.
Reason he didn't get an extension, and I don't think he's going to get re-signed. I think we're going to be looking for a secondaries a corner coach. Kind of weird that Tim Banks coaches the safeties. But anyway, Wade Rouse for 10. Appreciate that, brother. I think this team will be fine. As bad as I hate it, I think they have needed to get beat to show they're not to show them they're not all that. I felt like Milton had a pretty decent second half, the O-line and tempo. He didn't wake you up, right? How do you not? That's like JP said earlier. How do you not get up for the Florida game? And now we're looking at UTSA and we're looking at South Carolina. It's like, do you need me to give you a reason to get up for that South Carolina game? Shannon DeCannon for 10. Appreciate that, brother. Silver lining. Bama has drama and seemingly on a downward trend. What goes up? Everyone say it with me. Must come down. GBO. The counter argument to that. JP said it right before we went live. We missed it by a year. If last year's team was playing in 2023, we're looking at going to Atlanta and doing something special. We are. Wade Rouse for 5 gets better when Cooper gets back. Can't blame it on Joe whenever he is dropping back and is under pressure automatically. Could Nico escape that pressure? Wink, wink. C. Johns for 2. Joe isn't throwing bad. Pre-snap is where he sucks. That goes back to game management. Dauber buried our argument here. They're already wanting shirts that say JP Xavier in 2024. They're going to be running against us. So shout out to you guys. Good luck. Parker Townsend for 5. I'm going to get Dauber a speechwriter, and we're going to get this thing cleared up. We're going to fix the little mistakes. We're going to dial it in, and we're going to come out and dominate on the campaign trail. I have no doubt. Parker for 5. I disagree about Hooker. He lifted a team on his shoulders and made everyone around him better. Joe can't do that. He can't motivate, and awareness is thumbs down. Ben Gaylor for $2. Thank you for the super chat. How y'all doing this fine evening? GBO. My blood pressure's up. My face is turning red. We got 400 people watching, though, so we're living the dream, man. Glad to have you in the chat, Ben. Wade Rouse been a member for 22 months, almost 2 years. I feel like Milton found his footing in the second half. Did he find his footing, or did the play calling change? Did the play calling change a little bit?
I mean, they definitely opened it up when they got down and they started having to, pass. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he threw some decent balls. I mean, he did. So, that's not the problem. I mean, he wasn't overthrowing people by 100 yards. Yes, he he throws behind some and throws it in the dirt occasionally. He's not Hendon Hooker, so we might as well just forget about that, fellas. He's not.
Right.
But if he could, continue to manage the game better, I'm telling you, I mean, that's where that it's at. I mean, this offense is going to be, it's going back to that Garantano, pre-Dobbs, just that.
How dare you.
I mean, it is like that. It's painful and to watch, and obviously the quarterback is the main cog in that wheel, and that's where that this whole game management, being able to read the defense, how to check out, be able to get the play off quicker, all that stuff comes into play, and it's just not happening. And again, he's 6 years in, so does anybody really have any confidence that it's going to change around, in the next nine weeks?
No. Let me catch up on Super Chats. Goodness gracious, y'all. Parker Townsend for 2. Leadership is needed as a SEC quarterback. Fire up the team. I think leadership's needed on both sides of the ball. From a player standpoint. I'm not talking about coaches. I going back to Aaron Beasley in the comments, lack of discipline. No, it doesn't surprise me. Well, then get in somebody's face like Al Wilson and knock their teeth down their throat and say, why are you not doing what you're supposed to do?
Hold them accountable.
They don't do that stuff anymore, Boogie.
You need to.
No, somebody needs to tell Mincy, you either want to play football or you don't.
And that's Joe's job.
Yeah.
Or Cooper's. Maybe it's Cooper's job on the offensive line. I'm going to pull Dauber aside after this live stream and say, hey, you got to dial it in. If we're going to try to argue for Joe, I need you to get the words game management out of your mouth. You got to dial it in. All right, let's move on. Dylan Plowman for 5. Appreciate the super chat. We all know the ending to this story. You can see it coming from a country mile. My problem is, why do the coaches not see it? I thought we had our guys. They get paid a lot of money to make these decisions.
Now. Start and fire up the coaching hot board now, fellas.
No,
let's calm that down. Lord of mercy, we know that crap don't work. So
do I need to pull up the text messages, Dauber, from the Austin P game, see what was being said?
I wasn't firing anybody. I
know you were firing everybody. Not anybody, everybody.
No, it was Joe Milton. It was Milton that I was.
Like I said,
with.
well, like I said last week, we don't need to fire up the fire Tim Bankses and all that. I said don't fire. He's questionable, but I'm not going to say not going to fire him.
I don't know, Xavier. I'm a little. I don't know about that.
Tim Banks, when the defense plays aggressive, when they play man and they bring blitzes, I think they play really well. But when he tries to get conservative and get cute and play zone, awful.
I really thought that. I thought that our defense Saturday night would come out a lot like the Pittsburgh game last year. That's what I was expecting, and it didn't happen.
Come after him.
I mean, it just did not happen, and I have no idea why. I mean, I don't know if he thought that Florida had some other quarterback. I don't know. I mean, to me, that was indefensible, and he needs to be held accountable for that. So we'll see. We'll see moving forward.
Yeah.
Shannon DeCannon, are some ball fans bipolar? Yes.
Yes.
Most of us are. C. Johns for 2. Thank you for the super chat. Mincy did play. That's what irritates me. It's the decision to play him on special teams but not offense it blows my mind. Red Win for 5. I'm bothered by the contrast between players' effort. Beasley versus Haddon, McCoy versus the rest of the offense. Some players just obviously care more. That's spot on. Red Win, that is spot on. Like, I love the reaction from Brew McCoy. He is pissed. He is angry. He's talking about, losing sleep over this loss. We need 22 guys like that. 11 on offense, 11 on defense. I think Beasley's one of those dudes, right? Like a lot of people comparing Brew McCoy to a Jawan Jennings type of player, just physical and a dog, and that's what he is, man. But I love that he cares so much. We had the debate this morning. It got weird. Dude, who cares more, fans or players? Brew McCoy cares way more than I care. Brew McCoy cares way more than I care. Some of those players got on the plane, came back home, went and partied, had a good time, laughed it up, went on with their lives, didn't worry about it. What do you guys think? That's a weird question because every player on that team should care more than a fan cares. I don't know that they all do.
It's just different as a fan. I mean, it's just different, because those guys have the blood, sweat, tears, the time that's invested in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a job to those guys, fellas. I mean, that's what a lot of that is looked at, and ours is a fandom. So
Well, and there's even different levels to that. Someone like myself who's an alum, it's a little bit different than Boogie, who didn't go to UT, but it's still. I don't think it makes it any more or less, for either of us. But I'll tell you what, I've calmed down a whole lot as I've gotten older.
You know what did that to you? Philip Fulmer's the end of his tenure did that to you.
Yeah, the fall of the Vols kind of did that. But man, it's just it is completely different. The landscape of college football is different. I always said that these guys were going out on Saturdays, and it was basically a job interview for Sundays. But now with NIL and all of this, the guys are getting paid. We've talked about it before on here. I know JP's been on when we've talked about it. Boogie, you have. These guys, there are so few that have an allegiance to the school they actually go to. They have no ties to it. You occasionally have a legacy come through. Their dad played there, their grandfather played there, or whatever. Now these kids are either chasing a ring. Or chasing playing time, they're hitting the portal, and that's what
or
they're
NIL,
or they're chasing that bag. And can you fault any of them for that viewpoint? It's hard to say, but I think that's what makes it so tricky as a coaching staff to build a roster and a team. How do you manage having a guy that's there because his dad played there and it's in his blood versus a guy who's looking, to make a couple $100,000 NIL versus a guy who, is transferring in looking for play. You have so many dynamics, and it's interesting.
You also got to look at you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-old kids, right? How did you act when you were 18 to 22? How did you act in high school if you lost a ball game? Did you care, or did you just go home and be like, I'm going to play some video games with my boys, just hang out, do whatever? Like, did you really care?
It depends on if you're competitive or not. Because, like, if you're not really that much competitive, you're going to be like, oh, well, we took the L. So, I'm going to just go home, play Madden, play 2K, whatever. Well, we got the next game.
I was telling the story this morning about me and Snake going to a Tennessee game, and they lost. And we were walking back to the car, and it was late because we always stood in the stadium forever like a bunch of idiots and sulked and cried and act like babies because we cared so much. And we saw Justin Hunter and Derrick Rogers walking by the parking garage, and they were just laughing and chalking it up, having a good time. I'm sure they were going to a party. I'm sure that's what they were doing. I'm sure they were going to have a good time. And it's like, I look over at them, and I'm like, why are we letting this impact our lives? And the dudes that are out there on the field don't freaking care. And it's like, I get what JP's saying, and I agree with it, man. These guys, they sacrifice their time. What goes into being a college athlete is overlooked so much, right? Their schoolwork, the film study, practices, the weight room. These dudes give a lot of their time and life to Tennessee football. Sometimes I just wish they all cared like Brew McCoy cared.
It's a huge commitment, but how bought in are you?
Exactly.
How bought in are you? That's the thing. And how far are you willing to go?
Because, like I said, and we see it all the time. These guys, get their pregame prep talk and stuff, and we all see it right as soon as they suit up and they walk out of that locker room. That sign that's hanging right on JP's wall right over there.
His crooked shelf back there?
I guess so. But we all know what that sign says right there. Look, I will give my all for Tennessee. And every player slaps it. Every player. That should mean something to each and every one of those players.
It should. But, that it's not like that. I mean, somebody just said that his brother played from 82 to 86 when Twisted 10 and said every time that they lost that he was pissed. Yeah, I mean, it's just different. It is. And, everything that you all have talked about from NIL to just looking for a payout to, all
culture
that stuff.
In general.
I mean, it's just all changed. I mean, people just generally that they don't have that that care, I guess, that it's just, oh well, it is what it is, and you know, you move on, and like Dauber said, certainly the older I've gotten, the more that it doesn't affect me. I mean, Saturday night, I mean, I was frustrated, but you know, at the end of the game, turned it off. I started watching primetime Dion, and you know, I was like, oh well, you know. I mean, of course, I knew. I knew what was going to happen before the game ever started Saturday night because I've lived it for the past 30 years. You know, ever since they started playing Florida
trust me,
on an annual basis. I mean,
it still affects me because, like I said, like I told Boogie and Dauber, like I said, this whole week, everybody's been asking me, like, X, how you taking this loss, man? I was like, man, I'm pissed off, but what can I do? I said, look, I'm over here, you know what I'm saying, gaming, playing Mortal Kombat just to take my frustration out. So, I mean, that's what I'm doing.
I mean, there's you know, I mean, life goes on. You know, it like Boogie said, you know, it went on that night for Derek and Justin Hunter, so you know it should go on for us too. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be there Saturday. You know, mad as can be when they have to punt in the first quarter. And
we had no idea you were going to be mad on Saturday.
You know, and all that
what
stuff
went
and
through?
everything.
You gave a good 63 effort in the Florida game. You didn't text me and Dauber.
Yeah,
you had good text discipline.
I was fine. I mean, it was. And I don't want to seem like a NegaVol, but I mean, was there any Tennessee fans?
Everybody drop. Hold on, just a second. Everybody drop the NegaVol JP emojis in the chat now.
Wait a minute.
What is?
But seriously, was there any Tennessee fans that was honestly confident halfway through the first quarter of that football game Saturday night? Really, you was?
Yeah, I wanted that dub, JP.
I'm always confident.
You know me, JP. I wanted it
like,
for sure. It wasn't.
It's
that I didn't want it.
42-3, and I'm like, there's still a chance, man. Let's give them a chance. Let them finish this game.
I
See
sat
what
there
happens.
and watched the whole ending of it because I mean, honestly, there was a chance for. There was an avenue for Tennessee to come back, and you know they had opportunities in the second half to come back and to make that a football game at the end, but. Obviously, you know, the inability to pick up 4th down and 1 and, you know, just the management of the game
we shot ourselves in the foot.
But can you come up with any more UT thing than the referee kicking the football? And nobody knows how to respond. And it's like, I get it. People after the fact are freaking out saying, well, snap the ball. Just snap the ball and go. You know, Florida, you know, they weren't holding the ball. Nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew what was going on in that moment.
But what I don't understand about that is you got it 4th down and 1. You got a quarterback that's 6'5", 235 pounds, and you line up in shotgun. You know,
that's Butch Jones-esque.
Why don't you get into that goal line offense that you did against Virginia with Spraggins in at fullback? And snap the ball to Milton, and Spraggins just runs right up his hind end and pushes him forward for a yard. Why? It's stupid.
The local high school does it. They know how to do it.
And, you know, Heupel's getting paid $9 million to call a play like that. I mean, and I like Heupel. I think he's great, and I'm not saying anything like that. But don't try to overthink it. Don't try to overthink it, and you see all of these coaches do it. You see them over and over and over. It's every single week. It's even in the pros. It's stupid though.
You miss a prime opportunity to put JP on the full screen, and
I know. I'm still trying to get through these super chats. These people super chatted 42 minutes ago, and I'm still waiting to read through them. VFL Willie for 5. Joe reminds me of Jay Cutler. He's a laid-back guy. He's a pocket passer. I think because of his build, people think he should run more. That's not him. I agree. I think he should run more, and I don't think he wants to run more. I think that is a problem. And Hendon Hooker, let's keep talking about Hendon, right? Hendon. Well, Hendon was special, man. And we're always going to compare Joe to him until Nico comes in and fixes everything. Noah James for 2. Thank you for Super Chat. Your QB is only as good as the team around him. Again, it goes back. We've talked about it. JP said it before we went live. There's so many problems on this football team, not just the quarterback. That's what's so concerning. Jamie Roberts, member for 13 months. How is Kamal Haddon still starting? Because I guess you don't have anybody else. Like Danico Slaughter didn't play. So Who else you going to go with? You going to go with Ricky Gibson? He got some run. It's the same conversation as Nico. Can you trust a freshman corner? I think it's about time we start trying, though, Jamie. Evan counts for 2. Y'all heard anything on Boo in Colorado? A lot of people act like he's fine. He's going to be a Tennessee dude.
Yeah.
Adam Cook for 5. Boogie, rub your earlobes and take an aspirin for your blood pressure. Don't croak on stream. We need you. I'm glad you think that, Adam, because a lot of people don't think that you do need me. So I appreciate that, brother. Jeff Puckett for 10. I just wanted to show JP some love. That's fine. He'll never see a dime of that, but we appreciate the super chat. JP's the man. Everybody's like, when's JP coming on? Get JP on here. I'm like, bro, I text him every single Wednesday and say, JP. But that is our arrangement. JP doesn't want to do this thing as a business. He wants to do it for fun. And I said, JP, open invite. Whenever you want to come on, come on. If you don't. There's no pressure. Always a good time. You guys think if you want – it's like Coach Jay said this to somebody the other day that was talking about – they were insulting Coach Jay. It was like a backhanded compliment. It's like, I kind of like Coach Jay, but he's no JP. We need JP back. It's like Coach Jay said, yeah, I do too. I want JP back too. I love JP. Like, JP is a big reason why I tuned into this channel. So you guys keep harassing JP. Find him on Twitter. Find him on Facebook. If you can find his phone number, shoot him. Actually, I will put his phone number. I'll put his phone number in the comments.
You do that there,
after we go off air. You guys text him every Wednesday and say, JP, you have somewhere to be at 7 o'clock. Hot Rod 94 for 5. Reasons we lost: pre-snap penalties, O-line suck, couldn't run the ball, missed tackles. Joe needs to run the ball more. Sounds like a lot to clean up, Hot Rod, but you're not wrong. Appreciate that super chat. Jenny for 10. I knew players when I was at UT. They cared when they lost, and they were mad. Case in point, lost to LSU in the SEC champ. Oh, my gosh. I was at that game.
Ever.
In 2021, look what they did. No, I wasn't at that one. I was at 2004. Look what they did to Michigan in the Citrus Bowl. I'm not going to say it. I was going to make a joke about the Citrus Bowl, but I'm not. Thank you, Jenny, for the super chat. We appreciate that. Go find your lucky shirt and get it on for this week. Shannon DeCannon for 5. JP, do you think the near 8 minutes we lost first quarter because of the defer? Oh, my gosh. Shannon, you will not let this go. I've been arguing with Shannon all week long over this. He is mad because we deferred. He says, I think it hurt us. How many more chances to get in a rhythm to score did we lose? It was a picture-perfect scenario. You got to stop, and you scored, and you were getting the ball in the third quarter. So that worked picture-perfect.
Yeah, the problem there, Shannon, in my opinion, was the defense could get off the field on third down. You know, I mean, I'm not mad that they deferred to the second half at all. But the fact of the matter is there was multiple third downs, and you know, really, if you go back and you look at it, a lot of those were third down and 5+. So as bad as we want to talk about the way the defense played, really first and second down they did okay, but then it was the third down. I mean, in that first half, they could not stop Florida on third down, and you know, we gave up.
It was like 7 or 8.
Yeah,
Shannon's just trying to trigger me.
And we gave up 4 straight touchdowns. I mean, so you know, yes, the offense could get in rhythm because the defense couldn't get off the field because Kamal Haddon's standing over there, you know, looking at the sideline and letting some guy just complete a pass, or Wesley Walker's whiffing, or
oh my gosh.
You know, I mean,
at least he tried. Kamal Haddon didn't even try on that play.
Yeah,
he hit him with his shoulder.
Yeah, but wrap up.
Have you seen the replay of that?
But then he done some kind of flip, like he was. You know, I was like, "What's he going to try to do? Like kick him as he's flipping through the air?"
It was so bad that people on Twitter are saying that he missed the tackle on purpose. And when I watched the replay, I'm like, "Did he miss the tackle on purpose?" Like that's how bad it was. That's how bad it was.
It's horrible.
Shannon DeCannon still trolling me. He's like, "So you do agree, JP? We needed those minutes." He is like, that is a conversation.
Yeah, we needed them, but it wasn't because that we deferred, though, Shannon. It was because the defense couldn't get off. The defense couldn't get off the field. I mean, we gave up 4 touchdowns to Florida in the first half. 4 consecutive drives. I mean, it was like that game started at 7 o'clock, and I thought, man, this thing's going to be over by 8:30. You know, the entire game. I mean, it was like, whoa, where did this game even go?
I think
It's like
Shannon
watching
has
an NFL
spent
game almost.
he spent around $400 in super chats just to ask that question every single time that the
I
red
keep
light
on letting
comes
him
on.
ask it then, brother.
Yeah, I'll be live tonight at 9:30. Y'all come back. Shannon's going to be dropping a super chat about deferring. Riggs for 2 felt like South Carolina game last year. Not, it's still pretty bad. It's still.
I
pretty
mean,
bad.
if you're talking about like the Mincy incident, I can kind of relate it to the Jeremy Banks situation a little bit. I mean, obviously it's a totally different situation.
No, I think it's completely different.
I think it was just the defense performance.
The difference last year is how much you had on the line.
Yeah.
And you
Right.
pissed it all away. Now it's like, can you respond and bounce back? Which is a question that we were going to get into 25 minutes ago.
I don't even know it's that. It's where do you start? What issue is the most problematic, and how do you address and fix that? You got the whole QB dilemma, which that's what everybody wants to focus on. But that is, to me, by far the least of the problems right now, because it doesn't matter who's back there if the offensive line isn't going to block. If you're only going to average 3 yards a carry or less than that. If you're going to have pre-snap penalties that put you behind the chains on first down, playing first and 15, and then, like I said, to me, I was so surprised by the defense this past Saturday. There are lots of issues, and you don't have much time left to fix stuff. I said earlier, you got UTSA this weekend, which, listen, that's not a pushover game.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
No.
they have got to come
Yeah, it
out.
is.
dialed
No,
in.
it's not. No,
I'm telling you.
nope.
But then,
Nope.
then
If
right
they
back to
play
the
like they did the last
But
2
yeah.
weeks,
But careful, Boogie. Don't say it's a glorified scrimmage.
It
Don't
is
say
a
if
that.
they
glorified
play like
scrimmage.
they did
And
against
guess what?
against
You gotta
P
show up.
and Florida,
There you
that
go,
will be
Boogie.
a game in the fourth quarter, fellas.
So show up.
Oh, yeah.
It is a glorified scrimmage. I'm sick and tired of sugarcoating
But-
crap because
but
this
do
team
you
sucks.
have any faith that
No.
they're going to? Okay,
No.
then
No.
then
But it's
then
guess what?
It's going to be
we
a
have
game in
better
the fourth
talent.
quarter. Then
I'm not
But
saying it's
here's the
not.
thing,
I'm
though.
saying we
Here's
have better talent. We have better coaching. Show up, do what you're supposed to do, and it's going to be a scrimmage. If you don't,
Yeah.
then guess what? We're going 6-6. That's
Here's
it.
the thing, though.
Yeah,
I don't know about 6 and 6.
Saturday
5-7.
on paper in Gainesville, we were the better team.
Yep.
On paper, how many times have we played Florida and been the better team and lost?
Too many times. Way too many times.
So
Let me hit
that's
2
the
more
thing.
super chats, and we're gonna blend this thing into our UTSA predictions. Another glorified scrimmage coming up on Saturday in Neyland Stadium. Hope you guys will tune in for that and for the tailgate show and post game show. James Lawson for 5. I'll be a Vols fan till I die, but sometimes watching a game, I feel like if there's a way to F it up, we will find it. That is battered Vol syndrome 101. It is. We've been through the worst of the worst. Marcus for $20. That is not cheap, Marcus. I appreciate that. Says, what happens if Cooper comes back and the offense still struggles? Who will be to blame then? Also, I volunteer to help Haddon with tackling drills for free. I bet Marcus, just judging by his profile picture, like I can see the traps pushing up his collared shirt. I bet he tackles way better than Kamal Haddon. What do you guys think?
I believe so too.
I think so. Appreciate that, Marcus. Appreciate the super chat, buddy. Marcus, he's a morning show guy. It's so funny. There's so many people that are morning show guys, and then guys that show up in the evening stream. So it's good to see Marcus hanging out for a Wednesday show. Guys, we still have got over 300 people watching live. Appreciate you guys tuning in, choosing us when you've got so many other platforms. We're trying to build a community around here for the fans, by the fans. You guys know the saying. We're not experts. We're not insiders. I love a good stream when the OGs are back together. I love when JP's back in the house, X Factor, fighting for airtime. He's learning. You got to tell JP and Dauber to shut up. I got something to say. Dauber is my brother from another mother. Man, these are I have fun. I told you guys before we went live. I was like, I didn't really plan anything. I don't have any bullet points. I don't have anything prepared because I know the passion's going to come through. So thank you guys for tuning in and choosing us. As always, smash the thumbs up. That's quick, free, and easy. You want to do a little bit more, there's a join button down below. right down below, right beside subscribe. You can hit the join button. You can become a member of the channel. What that says is I'm all in, man. I like what you guys are doing, whether it's videos, live streams, the community aspect. I love that you guys come into the post-game streams and you talk the entire game. And last week, because we had Josh Prey on, I didn't create the post-game stream. I was like, I'm going to wait a little bit, let it set. And you guys asked me, Boogie, will you create the post-game stream so we can hang out and talk throughout the game? I love that. That is a beautiful thing about this community. But if you hit that join button, it's only $1. That is all we are asking is $1. You want to give a little more? You have the opportunity to do that. The more you give, the quicker you get on the fan call-in shows. If you can't, that's fine. But also, I've got to stop sharing this press conference because we're not going to watch it. But also, you can go check out the merch. Check out this brand new Talkin VAWLS VAWL. What do you think of that shirt, JP?
Looks good, man. I like it.
Kevin's always dialing up solid merch, man. Go check it out. You can go to bonfire.com/store/talkinvalls. You want that clean VAWLS look. Also, we're a cult. Look, it is what it is. We're a cult. We're not a family. We're not a community. We are a cult. You want to let people know you're a cult member. We've got that, as well as the old favorites, Fuga, Gator Hater. We got a TriStar shirt. All the old favorites are there. Go check it out. Bonfire.com/store/talkinvalls. The link is in the description below. We appreciate all the support. I say it every single week. If you guys pick up merch and you're repping it, you're out at a game or in public or somewhere, whatever, take a picture and tag me on Twitter at Boogie Bentley. I would love to see you guys repping that Talkin VAWLS merch. All right.
You should give some of that away, Boogie.
Shut up, JP. We're going to move right along.
Oh, trust me. I say he's got a hoodie that he's going to send to a certain someone. Wink, wink.
X is like, can you send me 14 shirts, Mr. and Mrs. Coach J? I don't know if I can pay my mortgage this month because I sent them 82 T-shirts in the mail, and X is always like, what about me? Don't you love me, Boogie? I need you to send me a shirt for free too.
See, look, B Hawk thinks that you need to be giving away some stuff. I won't be invited back on. I won't be getting a text message next Wednesday.
Y'all laugh. Any OGs know JP used to every week. If we made $3 on merch sales, JP gave away $75
giving it away. Hey,
in merch sales.
Growing that fan base, Boogie.
Do you want me to send you a free shirt, JP? Do I need to send you one of these beautiful? Guess what? Guess who paid for this? Guess who paid for this? I did. I paid for this shirt.
I would rather for you to give it away to one of the 20-some thousand people.
Say it right. R. Yeah. R. It ain't my audience. It's R.
No, you.
Oh, it's like oil. Do y'all say
oil?
Oil.
Oh my gosh, what are you, a Yankee?
Oil.
How do you say it?
Oil.
You say it right. JP says oil. How do you say it, Dobber?
Or you want to go real southern with it, it's Earl.
But you just said oil. X?
I know.
Where are you from? New Jersey?
No, from the Great Smoky Mountains of Tennessee.
It doesn't sound like it. Nobody says oil.
Hey, X. How would Butch Jones say it?
Oh, no.
I have no clue. But I said play the clip. I should play the clip. This is how he would say it.
Oh, my gosh. I don't have things ready around here.
And you have to not lose the game before you can ever win the game.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. I mean, I'm just saying. All right. Let's do some UTSA predictions. Tennessee favored by 21 points as of right now. The ESPN FPI has them at 86.3%. Who wants to go first? Dauber? I went first last week, and I led us down a dark path.
I think all those people that wanted to see a blowout in Austin Peay, if they're thinking there's going to be a blowout this Saturday in Neyland, they're going to be disappointed again. I think it's going to be close. This team has some issues. They've got problems. I think Tennessee's going to come out with a bounce back win, 34-13. I'd like to see Nico get in the second half a little bit and play, but just what I want to see is them to clean up a lot of the things that were problematic and concerning from the trek down to Gainesville. because moving ahead, it's gonna get tough. So you need to get some momentum before South Carolina, A&M, Alabama, Kentucky. Um, I'm looking for Joe to come out and play good, not great, because I don't know that he has that in him to be great and take over a game and dominate. But yeah, like I said, 34-13 is what I've got.
Zach Ledford for 5 says this looks exactly like the 2021 team. The only difference is Joe got hurt. Hendon rescued the season. I don't know that I disagree with him. And I said that a lot during that year. Like, it was to the point that I was ready for a change. I was ready for Hendon. As much as I was a Joe guy, I was like, it's time for a change. And it's almost like it kind of forced Josh Heupel's hand, right? Like, he was riding with Joe, and then when he got hurt, it's like, okay, now's the opportunity to make that change. Is he scared to make a change? I don't know, but that's a good point, Zach. Thank you for the super chat. X, what do you got?
Maybe on the offensive side on that, Boogie, but man, we ought to be better on defense. I mean that 2021 team. I mean, we had Salon Page out there that was playing meaningful snaps at linebacker.
We didn't even talk about defense much on this stream like I wanted to. How much did losing Keenan Peely hurt this team?
It's huge.
Apparently, it's a
huge.
Big deal.
Yeah,
it's huge. Yeah, it's very huge.
I promise you guys, on Friday morning with Coach Jay, we'll get into defense. He's a defensive guy. I'll make him. We'll talk about some defense on Friday morning at 9:30. Thomas Maynard for 5, going on vacation starting Friday. If I look at my phone and see UT 10, UTSA 7 at halftime, I might throw my phone into the lake. We could all probably be better people if we threw our phones into the lake. But then you guys couldn't watch Talkin VAWLS, so don't do that, Thomas. Don't throw your phone in the lake. What do you got, X?
So it's kind of piggybacking off what Dauber said, man, there's a lot of issues with this football team, and this is the one game. This is a bounce back game. You have to put on a dominant performance on both sides of the ball. You got to prove to this fan base that we're still that fast offense, fun Tennessee football team to watch, that we can score on anybody in the country. And as far as I know, everybody wants to point the finger at Joe. And then really this is a game for Joe to just go out there and just dominate. This is a game that Joe has to prove to keep his starting job. It's just point blank simple as that. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's going to be a glorified scrimmage, nothing like that. I do think we will win.
Get those balls, X. Go those balls, X. Throw it at him, X. Glorified scrimmage.
Nah, I ain't going to say all that. I know we're going to win the game, but my score prediction, man, I'm going to go with just 30-13. That's just what I'm going to go with. Because like I said,
come on, X.
That's just what I'm going to go.
JP's about to pick UTSA to win. I already forgot Dauber's prediction, which is good because we picked the same score for 3 weeks in a row, I think. 2 weeks in a row.
Now, I will throw this out there. There's a chance that their quarterback will not play.
I don't think he's going to play.
Battling some turf toe.
Yeah,
did not play last Saturday against Army, and is probably their best offensive player.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing on Saturday. He's listed as day to day. I don't see it.
His knee's about like Nick Chubb's, isn't it? Though anyway, I mean the dude's been battered with knee injuries.
Yeah.
I hate
Rob
that
Baxter
for
5. Dude, come on.
I'm serious. I do,
no, you
man.
Don't. That was such a lie. That was so sarcastic.
Nobody get hurt like that.
That is so sarcastic.
I'm being serious, man. I wouldn't want nobody to get hurt like that.
You don't want a Georgia player, former Georgia player, to get hurt?
No.
You don't?
Why would I want anybody to get hurt, man?
This is why. I don't believe there are good people that pull for Georgia. I think they're all terrible, ugly, disgusting human beings. I think it's just that no, there are no good Georgia fans, Eric. There are none.
Yeah, but that don't have anything to do with Chubb. He wasn't a fan, he's a player.
Do you want me to reword my saying?
But seriously though, isn't the UTSA quarterback, whatever it's Frank something, doesn't he have multiple knee issues over his career?
I have no idea.
I think so.
It's turf toe.
But
and
yes,
I really don't think he's playing. I don't think he's playing. Rob Baxter for 5. You guys think he'll go with Joe no matter what for the whole season? I don't. I think if the wheels fall off, and I said this before the season ever started, I think you probably have to lose to South Carolina, Texas A&M. I think the season has to be over. It has to be over before he'll make the change. Donovan for 5. Hell, I broke my phone Saturday night and bought a new one on Sunday. Tennessee football is ruining
He
us,
is not going to miss Talkin VAWLS.
Donovan broke his phone. I'm gonna drop dead of a heart attack over Tennessee football. So I don't know which is worse. Timothy McGee for 5. FYI, like to remind people that Austin Peay is a Division I FCS, not Division II or Division III. At least they know how to play, how to do a playoff, unlike FBS. Thank you, Timothy, for the super chat. That got a good pop out of Dauber. Riggs for 2. Vols and Browns fan here. Thanks, JP. JP's a Redskins, Commanders, Washington football team.
I was not being sarcastic or insensitive about Chubb. I was just saying that.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Man,
he hates it.
You all don't
He
be better than that. I don't want nobody
He feels
to get
sorry
hurt.
for him. Feels real sorry for him.
I mean, it does. I mean, it stinks for him. It does, man.
That's terrible.
Everything
like
that
terrible.
everything that you read about Chubb, they say he's a really good guy too. So it's tough, man. Because I mean, that could possibly end his career. It's tough.
JP, give me.
I don't know why that I'm feeling this way because I've sat here all night and I've said Milton can't run an offense.
Balls by 50.
That he can't
Here
do
we go.
it. But
Whoa. Hold on a second. This is Wednesday, JP. If
Yeah,
you
I
all
know
only
it.
knew Saturday, JP.
Game day, JP.
Two different people, bro.
Yeah,
it's two different
yeah.
people.
yeah,
I
but
got to see
somehow-
Saturday, JP.
No, you don't
Somehow
want on
I
that
keep
text
going
thread.
back.
No.
Somehow I keep going back to thinking that, yes, Virginia was not very, very good, but, Tennessee poured it on in second half and they got their mojo and we really thought that they was going to do good. And I have no idea if UTSA is better than Virginia or whatever, but for whatever reason, I think Heupel's going to be ticked. I think he's going to try to score as many points as he possibly can. Somehow, I think Milton gets it done. I think the offensive line plays decent. The defense shows back up. Vols roll 59-17.
Good
Does
Lord,
this flip
have
the
mercy.
switch for the season, JP?
No, because I think this team's probably got that Jekyll and Hyde in them. Heckle and Jide.
Heckle and jive. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I think this Vol team's got that Heckle and Jide in them. So, no, I wouldn't say that this is the turning point, Dauber. But
No, I think the turning point is that you got to beat South Carolina. That you got to beat them. You got to beat them. Especially for them coming home, you got to beat them.
Yeah, but if we continue to play like we have the last 2 weeks, we're not beating South Carolina in 10 days, fellas. It's not happening. So.
Cottontail Legacy for 2 says Milton's QBR is 82 out of 133 points scored, went 46-23. We talked a lot about that this morning. Yeah, I get it. I understand. I understand you guys are frustrated. This is a huge game, man. Who thought we would be going into UTSA and saying this is a big one? And I didn't have any bullet points, and I was like, let me post in the Facebook group and ask them questions. And we didn't touch on one of them because y'all never shut up. When JP's on the show, it's everybody's fighting to speak, and I love it. That makes my job as the host easy. I just let y'all talk. It's a beautiful thing. I love nothing more when the band is back together. Yeah, no, not a motor mouth. Motor mouth is what I'm calling you. You never shut the hell up. You just talk, and I love it because then I just sit here and listen. Like, I love it. I love when the band's back together, man. I knew this was going to be a fun one. Got a ton of questions that we are going to include Friday morning with me and Coach Jay. Not bringing a guest on. It's just going to be me and the coach. We're going to get you guys warmed up for the game on Saturday. But some of the questions were, what do you need to see in this weekend's game to feel better about the remainder of the season? Does it change your outlook on the rest of the season? You know, I predicted 9-3. Like, does that change? We'll get into that on Friday morning. Captain Woodland for 2 says Heckle and Jide making a comeback.
That's an OG knowing what's what.
You need to make one of those shirts, Boogie.
Just a Heckle and Jide. People would look at it and be like, what in the heck does that mean? What does that mean? That's a throwback to the OGs, and Captain Woodland is here for it. Look, I think we're going to come out of this game with more question marks, right? Because that's the theme this season. Every single week, it's like, all right, we're going to figure it out on Saturday. And then we have no clue what the hell is going on after the game. And it's the same thing every week. Virginia, Austin Peay, Florida. And now it's like, oh, it's UTSA and then South Carolina. I have no idea which one of these football teams is going to show up, whether it's Heckle or Jive. I have no idea. I think Tennessee wins on Saturday. They're favored by 3 touchdowns for a reason. They got more talent. They got better coaching. I think they can go through cruise control. But this team has to respond, man. They got to respond. They got to come out and play physical and be dominant. Like, I want to see some piss and vinegar on Saturday night. That's what I want to see. Just some effort, man. I want to see a bunch of dudes that care. I'm going with Tennessee, but I think I'm going to come out of it going, I still have no idea what this team is made of. I'm going Tennessee 31, UTSA 20. It's going to we're going to be irritable. We're going to be irritable on the postgame show, but it is what it is. Here's the deal, man. We're going to wrap this show up. We're going to be
Y'all
right
might
back
want to
here.
turn your phones off if that's the final score.
We're going to be live Friday morning, 9:30 a.m. Myself, Coach Jay. I'll get his opinions on the rewatches of the Florida game. We'll be breaking down this UTSA game. And then Saturday, an hour before kickoff, we'll do the tailgate show. That's where all you members of the channel get a chance to come on. If you're watching and you look over and you're like, why is this dude's name green? Why does he have a power T beside his name? Why is he dropping these custom Talkin VAWLS emojis? It's because he is supporting this channel. You can do the same. Hit the join button down below. We would greatly appreciate it. You can give $1. You can give more. Usually on the fan call-in shows, we start at $10, the Talkin VAWLS Elite level. We send the link out to you guys. You have an opportunity to come on. If it's slow, we'll add more. We'll add Talkin VAWLS Gold, Talkin VAWLS Faithful, and move on down the list. But the more you give, the quicker you get on. But the bottom line is, man, I love this community. Bob's not in the chat tonight. Bob was here last night for the NCAA stream. Bob is always here for the fan call-in shows. And he said just recently, he was like, man, Boogie, I live in a state where there's no Tennessee fans. Like, there's nobody around me to talk about Tennessee football with. And another guy that came on last night, I did an improv fan call-in show like 5 hours deep into the NCAA stream. We turned it into a fan call-in show. And another guy said the same thing. I'm like Bob. He said, I'm like Bob. I don't have any Tennessee fans around me. This is my family. This is my community. This is where I come to talk Tennessee football. This is what it's all about, man. You guys make this channel what it is. Nobody else is doing it. I can shout out their names. I can talk about VolQuest. I can talk about GoVols247. I can talk about Sports Talk J, BVD. I can list off all the YouTubers. Nobody is building a community like we are building, and I'm grateful for you because you guys make it what it is. Timothy McGee becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that, brother. Thank you for the support. But we're out of here. We're going to wrap this thing up. I will try to drop a video tomorrow, probably be a little bit later in the day. I got to shuttle kids all over the state tomorrow. I'm going to be driving kids all over the state tomorrow, early and often. And I'll get on here as soon as I can to make a video, and then we'll be live Friday morning. But that is going to do it. For Vols JP, for Dauber, for the X Factor, my name is Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
That we call